So first off, congratulations to you and your team and Game Freaks getting a very nice domination victory over sponsored by Rory. That I mean, you guys were already top three. That'll put you ahead of Average Joe's, putting you at number two. So how does that feel to be at this moment in time second best team in Division A East?
It feels great. We really had no expectations for this season and just tried to work on our individual play and team play. But we never expected to be second. We didn't do so well last year, so it's
And
nice to be where we're at.
so that gives me the next question. What's changed since the last season to now?
Well, we brought in a new healer. Bernie Byrne is amazing, and having a true healer main is really been huge to our team. And the other thing we worked on is just kind of like playing our own game. We stopped trying to copy. We picked the Chin, we picked the double support today, and we stopped trying to copy NGS so much. And we even lost the first place team last week, and we really tried to copy the NGS, and then it fell flat on our faces. So we try and keep our own meta.
Yeah, that's great. I think a lot of people play to the meta, but they don't actually play to the meta well. Like it's not their style, or it's not picks that they're comfortable on. So in this case, have you guys do you guys practice or scrim to keep up?
Well, we were scrimming a little bit coming into the season, but we're playing in the charity league as well. So that's 7 competitive matches a week.
Wow.
4 NGS games and 3 guaranteed charity games, and so we're not practicing much outside of the competitive games we're playing.
Yeah, I mean 7 games.
At least not
almost...
organized. We all play the game a lot, and we'll get on, but we haven't been saying like everyone show up for a 5-man scrim at this time.
Okay, yeah, that's fair. You guys are essentially replacing the scrims with like real life games with amount of actual league matches you're having.
Exactly.
So tell me about that first game. So you were saying you guys like to play your own meta. Well, what made you guys decide to play the Chen for the top lane?
Well, I had hoped my old teammate I used to play with, Star Fox 64, who joined Rory, the sponsored by Rory team, and I had really hoped he'd been there because Dragon Strike is one of his favorite maps, and we knew that was one of their favorite maps, and we knew they played the Zag there a lot. So we locked in that Chin, even though they still had a pick, because we expected the Zag, and that's what they gave us. And Chin beats Zag. That's basically what we were thinking.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I mean it's a bit of a toss up, a little bit dicey earlier game for Chen, but obviously he really bodies all the creep.
Well, that was my misplay early. Like I definitely played the Chin, and I took too much damage in a few trades, but then I think I paid him back with some pretty interesting dives.
Oh yeah, I would say that you definitely paid back during that game. It was the only scary part, I'd say, from my point of view, was like how many stacks Aura had gotten by the end of the game, where he would be basically an ADC who were sponsored by Rory. That's a trade-off, of course, of going up against Zag and knowing.
My team was scared of the same thing, and I told them it scales horribly. Like, because I play Zag too. I love these off-meta solo laners, and the fact is that even if you're just wailing on the Chin, which I already had the dodge, so when I'm diving, I was trying to pop dodge, hopefully not give too many stacks. But at the same time, you can get 200 stacks, and it doesn't even matter at level 20 because there's no scaling on it.
That's fair. It's definitely true. There is no like any auto attack talents to help bolster the rest of Zag's rated.
In fact, I think she would have been better off taking the wave clear attack anyway.
And that's definitely fair. So were you guys looking for a ley line into the big red button combo? Was that like part of the play you were expecting to make in the game?
We didn't actually like plan it that way, but Mayog is really, really good at timing those ley lines. So a couple times he ley lined, and they were like, everyone use your ult, and we used the Chin ult, we used the big red button, and we all and then the ley line gives us time to cast those abilities.
Mhm.
Yeah, and we were able to win some fights, but it wasn't something we had practiced or called.
Okay. So
But I definitely noticed that myself in those fights.
yeah, the last fight, which essentially won the game for you guys, was the ley line for Mayog, and then the big red button land perfectly square into the taunt, and it's kind of
Mhm.
like they just got two people instantly killed.
Well, I had gotten too cocky on the chin, and I even died giving them that Dragon Knight and giving them a bunch of momentum. And well, very, very well played by my team to stay patient, give them the keep, and then turn while they still had the Dragon Knight, and we were able to make up for my mistake and win the game.
Yeah. So was your team a little worried after? So you died, and then shortly afterwards, um, there was obviously a call to go and do the Bruiser camp, and you guys probably didn't expect, sponsored by Rory, to be like, we know exactly where they are, or like, let's go check if they're doing the Bruisers. And then you had Infofox follow up shortly after that as
Mhm.
another Den member. Were you guys concerned at all about the game since it was still fairly even at that point?
Infofox is our shot caller, and the whole team was kind of like, oh my god, what would we done, and we all got a little bit quiet. But Info just said, listen to me, and we're going to keep playing this game. Let's keep going. You just listen to me, and we all shut up and listened to Infofox and won the game off his shot calling. Yeah.
So that leads me to how is the team shot calling? I ask every team this since every team does it differently. I always find it insightful what works for different teams. So is Infofox kind of like all supreme dictator of shot calling? Sounds like, or is there more like
Well,
contributions?
normally it's everyone, but today every mistake we made, it's because we didn't listen to Infa. And by the second game, he was going, everyone shut up and let's listen to me. And like I said, we're all amateur. We're all here to have
Mhm.
fun. And he really took control of the situation though, and made sure because you know how it is. If you're making mistakes and it doesn't, if you make mistakes as a team, it's much easier to keep going than it is if
Yeah.
you're all just saying what do you want to do.
Yep, that's definitely fair. And I guess it kind of shows between game one and two. Like game two was much smoother. Did you guys expect it to take 16 minutes for a single Dragonite to appear?
I didn't know it took that long for the dragon tonight. Honestly, I was just focusing on my micro in the top lane.
Yeah, it took for the first DK 16 minutes and the second DK 20 minutes. And then you guys won the game after the second DK game.
Yeah. Well, we knew we did say as that Dragonite was getting to the keep that if we can get a kill, we can go back the other way and chase him down.
Mhm.
And so we knew, like, and they, unfortunately for them, that is what happened. The keep went down, and then I believe we even ley lined, just like you had said, we ley lined into a big red button into a chin ulti, and went on the Rhaegar. I'm pretty sure we were saying Rhaegar, Rhaegar, Rhaegar.
Yeah,
So
Mythil did go down. So basically, during that fight, you had all their DPS. Well, you had the Greymane go down, who was getting the Ancestral, and you blew him up before it actually finished casting, and then Smithil goes down.
yeah.
So in that second game, you guys opted for the double support. Is that something you've played before, or was this kind of like a little bit of a cheeky situation where you purposely were setting it up to try and have the support bans, knowing that you guys were going to pick, more off meta picks and cause them to waste bans?
Well, there was a lot going into that. We really did kind of predict that draft the whole way down. We
Mm-hmm.
banned the Malfurion we banned the Stukov hoping they'd first pick the Malfurion
Mm-hmm.
to give us Hanzo Garrosh, which they did.
Yep.
And then as far as the double support went, we wanted to take the Uther. There was some dissent on the team, but we wanted to take the Uther again because we had banned it last game to to deny the Divine Shield Genji and the Divine Shield Greymane. And again, we wanted to deny that. The team didn't quite believe in me, but I was going like, let me play this Uther double support. And then Bernie is a Lucio main, and it really worked. But
Yeah.
we absolutely were looking for the double support draft there to counter their comp.
Yeah, I saw that draft and I was pretty certain you guys were going to win the match based off the draft. Like you just outdrafted, sponsored by Rory. I felt that pretty much
I got it.
immediately.
Well, we were a little upset though because they respect. Like we've been playing a lot of Lili. We
Mhm.
think again, not HEC meta, but our meta, and we've been playing a lot of Lili, and they respect banned the Lili from Bernie Burn. And then we were like, okay, we have to double support now just to show them that we don't need the Lili.
Mhm. I mean, I think it worked out perfectly great.
And from my own perspective, yeah, Q build Uther is strong on that map just from a poke perspective. And that they had DPS that has to go in to do maximum damage, which Uther is just going to shut down every time. Plus, it gave us a cleanse for the Diablo engage on our tanks, and plus all the sustain from Lucio.
Yeah,
it's a good draft.
Yeah, I pretty much
double
thought,
support still is double support still out there as a viable comp, but I think people have moved away from it a little too much.
I think it's viable in very specific situations. Like Uther has to be part of the double support, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
because he can, with the Q build, he can output some DPS, and he has a lot of CC. Like if
exactly.
And you have to pick it into the right comp, like into a Genji and Greymane is like perfect because you get the D Storm, you get the stun follow up on either the Genji or the Greymane, and then
I get a.
Oh, sorry.
Well, and then a couple Qs to make sure they're poked down before they actually dive. Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like it's absolutely brutal. And then you have the second support who's going to still keep the team up. And it's not like you guys had shabby DPS. You had a Sonya with Wrath and Hanzo to poke from afar. So like if they even got to the Hanzo, they basically have to deal with the CC train that you help bring.
Yeah, that draft may not even work without the Hanzo because of the race the Hanzo brings. Actually, the Hanzo is very key.
Yeah, I gotta agree.
It's gonna be low on racing.
That's what I mentioned in the what I mentioned in draft was that they took the mouth, but which wasn't terrible, but then it instantly gives Hanzo, who's obviously the god of racing, and gives Garage, who like Fox plays very well. So they took the bait clearly when you insta lock in Hanzo and Garage, which means that they probably lose.
We actually said you've activated our trap card when they took them out.
That's great. So, did you guys expect that game to go so cleanly though, where you pretty much dominated it?
No, like me and InfoFox really believed in the double support, but the rest of our team was like, "What is this draft? This is not what we do usually." And we were like, "No, this is gonna work."
Well, it's good that you guys are willing to try new things. It definitely helps. One, helps build teams' confidence in their drafting abilities, and two, it allows you to play more varieties of team comps rather than we need one tank, one bruiser, two range DPS, and support, which is like generally the current meta.
Well, there's a lot of counter picks out there that people don't take just because they want to fit that, one tank, one bruiser, two DPS, one support meta. But that's not necessarily the best counter to what your opponent's already drafted. So
Agreed.
Being flexible is one of our strengths, yes.
So my sort of like final question here is, what have you and or your team learned in like the past month or 2 months that you feel has improved yourselves or just you, since there's lots of things that people can do and a lot of things people learn as they continue playing the game. So what's you and or your teams?
This is going to sound super cliche, but have fun. We picked the chin almost just so I could have fun. And I appreciate the team letting me do that. But if you're not enjoying the game, then you're too salty, you're too try hard, then it's never you're going to make mistakes. And when you're having fun, the mistakes seem less. So that's what we've done.
That's good advice. Yeah, people come in and if they're not having fun, they kind of like fall apart as a team. If you're having fun, then you can, recuperate from falling behind because you're like, you know what, what do we have to lose? And people
Or
don't get
even
salty.
just, me dying during my ult in bottom lane of Dragonshire, giving the camp, giving the Dragon Knight. No one flamed me. No one got silent. We all just said, hey, let's just keep playing the game.
Yeah, that's great.
It ended up working.
And that causes a problem with communication if people go silent because of not having fun. Like if they basically are just tryharding to the point where your death from a mistake is deemed, a noob level mistake, and they don't want to talk about it at that point and decide what to do next, you're going to lose the game.
Absolutely.
So
There's always a correct play, and if you ever stop trying to make the correct play, say someone dies, now it's a 4v5, well, there's still a correct play, and if you stop trying to make the right play, then you're going to end up feeding.
yep. So do you want to give any shout outs to anyone while we're wrapping up?
Definitely. Shout outs to Infofox joining our team and shot calling for us and doing great. And shout outs to Bernie, our support who stepped in for the season has elevated our play. Shout outs to Seachel, our captain, who does all the stuff I don't want to do, like organize matches and stuff like that. And then shout outs to Mayog and Fabre, the rest of my team, because they're really bringing the DPS and making great plays.
Yeah. Mayog looked definitely good on some of those Medivh plays in the first game, and
he's been spamming it in Hero League. He's really he's really playing it well now.
Yeah, if he's been spamming it, I feel bad for those people he's facing because it's brutal.
Yeah.
So once again, congratulations to Game Freaks, and thanks so much for taking the time out to do the interview.
Thank you very much.
And good luck in the rest of your season.
Hey, and shout out to you. Thanks for the cast.
Oh, thanks. No problem whatsoever. I'll probably cast you guys again at some point.
Anytime.
All right. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
You as well.